All right, Jason. So we're going beyond the blog. This week we're talking about free trials. Something that, to be honest, I don't know that MSPs really take advantage of as they probably should. And so I know Viper offers trials on pretty much all of their products, right? So I first and foremost, I want to get a little bit of the scoop from you on, what it is the trials that you offer and how the MSPs take advantage of them.
Sure. Yeah, we offer trials to our MSP, partners across all our solutions. But a really practical application I find for the trial is, for example, an endpoint. So Viper Site Manager is our endpoint cloud product for MSPs, and utilizing like a 30-day trial, maybe even an extension, it can be used to not be double billed and to kind of, maybe go from one vendor to another in kind of a replacement market. So that's one practical application that I see quite often in terms of endpoint trials, out to MSPs for that changeover.
Right.
But in terms of other trials, we offer trials for all of the solutions, which our MSPs actually take full advantage of that. We have a high volume of trial requests for them to kind of, I think, anticipate that this is something they're also going to be using, as well as reselling.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and I think I mentioned this in the article, but I think the fear around it is always like the change management part is like, you don't want to go through the process implementing something and then having to just take it back, and because that is time consuming, the speccing, the whole process. We had an experience where we actually kind of launched a trial program by accident. We brought on a new client and they had DNS filtering. And this was something that we actually didn't even offer at the time. And so in order for us to take on the new client, just like you said, we actually had to go sign up with a new vendor to be able to offer this. Well, the problem was there was like a 250 seat minimum in order to resell it. And so luckily the client that we were bringing on was about 100, but we still had 150 to go. And so we tried to sell it at first. To be honest, we weren't good at selling it because we never offered it before. And what we ended up doing was just started to give it away for free. And we figured, why not just get everybody on here, use the 150 seats, we're paying for them anyway, and then see who will stick, after the first year or so of, the way that our contract was structured. And so we did it. And to be honest, I think we probably retained about 80% of those people on the program. So it was worth it,
That's a great technique, and that's what trials are used for. On the vendor side is to also have that stickiness. So same as an MSP, it's the same goal, is to have a little bit of stickiness. And the beauty of most trials, and I know of certainly our trials, is they're full production trials. So we're not going to hold back features or functions or reporting or any of the valuable things that you'll want to pull together, as the article mentions at the end, to kind of show some data around the trials themselves, right?
Yeah, and it's not like the marketing industry, which is incredibly frustrating. You sign up for like some kind of system and you think it can do this, that, and the other thing, and then you go in, you try to use it, and then you get kind of like blocked by a paywall. So that can be frustrating. It's not, when you think about like, user experience and things like that, I think from an MSP standpoint, this is a great time for this. The fact that we're in the kind of pandemic 2.0 now, and people are starting to become cost sensitive again. They're trying to, figure things out. They're trying to bolster security again. And so this is a great way to offer solutions that your clients are going to need. Give it to them now, because now obviously, like, they're going to be very welcoming of not paying for something, and then hopefully, like, on the rebound, you can earn some more business out of it.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think when you talk about the movement towards trials and the expectation of trying something, or maybe even having something for free for a little while, we saw in the consumer side with kind of freemium, the kind of gray area between free and paid for, and it's a whole strategy right now in the consumer area to go towards that constant upsell from somewhere between free and paid in that freemium space. So I think that a parallel can be drawn here as well. to the expectation. At least our MSPs have an expectation that they want to try this, and there's an appetite in amongst SMBs for this bundling. So the MSPs are able to kind of go in and say, hey, we've kind of got these nice neat bundles. Here they are, and if that happens to happens at renewal time, to your point, as long as you have the data, the reporting behind that, you can put together a really compelling case to move to that bundle package.
Yeah, and it kind of solves the problem too, as far as yeah, and we've talked about this before. It was like price increases. It's like, imagine now, trying to renew customer contracts right now in the middle of like kind of like not the best economic time. Well, maybe this is an opportunity to get them into new services and to kind of upgrade their stack, but then at the same time, they're not kind of bearing the brunt of this capital expense or even an increase on their monthly bill. But then, kind of let's say 6 months from now, then that, trial period is over, kind of line items kick in. And now you do have a customer that's under a new contract. They're actually getting billed at a higher rate. It seems like a win-win.
Yeah, I think you're right on. And most of, the benefit of having trials that are production trials that don't hold back is the ability to help supplement the story. So, we know that the MSPs are going in, for example, talking a lot about security awareness training and email because of phishing and business email compromise. Wouldn't it be nice to have some statistics actually back that up to help tell that story, and then parlay that into offering that package at renewal time, as you mentioned?
Yeah, and mentioning security awareness training, I feel like that, telling a story is like, that is one of these products that like it really sells itself. I think once you can get it into somebody's hands, that's probably the hardest part, is to just educate, making them aware of the awareness that they need and that kind of thing. Just but then once they see they get the test results and they see, oh, my employees are like falling for these emails and things like that. Like, of course they're going to keep it.
Right, you're right. These phishing simulations. So it's a very powerful tool if I can overcome an objection from a buyer to say, well, we don't need security awareness training. We've got it under control. Okay. And then, if I'm able to send a phishing simulation and then show the data of the phishing simulation and say, are you sure? Because the data doesn't tell that same story.
Yeah. And like, I would love, if I was selling this right now, and it really wasn't popular when I was an MSP, but I would even love to see like, give that customer a survey beforehand and ask them like what they think the results will be, right, and then compare those next to the actual results.
That's powerful.
That will really tell the story. And, at that point, you can kind of just slide a number across the table, and I'm pretty sure that they'll go for it no matter what.
Security awareness training, it's nice to have a trial if you're an MSP too, because there's a lot of courseware to wade through. So we allow our MSPs to have added the entire courseware, everything from the basics to very granular compliance or anything along those lines. I think that's important because for an MSP, they have to think about different needs for their different segments of the client base, if you will. And so having a trial period, having a time to experience, okay, I think I can foresee putting together these different packages for my different customers. Not all customers will have the same needs ultimately within security awareness training, particularly if you don't have to force them to have the same needs. If you have a cookie cutter program, then you're kind of forced into it. If you have a nice rich catalog to choose from, you can kind of choose your own adventure, build your own adventure, if you will.
So have you found that there's kind of like these other upsell paths off of the security awareness training? So like if they were to start with the trial of that, does then it become clear like, okay, we need, attachment protection and these other email security components to kind of bolt onto that?
Well, I think what it does is grease the skids, if you will, to start to have that conversation because they're so interlinked. So to prove that you need security awareness training, the phishing simulations are effective. But then when you really start to have that consultative discussion about diving deeper into security awareness training, lo and behold, the intersection of technology and human behavior is the email security componentry. And so now you find yourself moving from the security awareness training conversation into advanced threat protection on the email side, maybe, to supplement O365 say. So it's very, one conversation will facilitate the other. Definitely when you're talking about security awareness training, dovetailing right into a conversation about email security.